So Trump, obviously, in his first term wasn't perfect. There was a lot of stuff that he did that I didn't love. But the despairing differences between the Republican Party and the Democrat Party, I can't get behind the alternative. Obviously, I know Trump is not a perfect person, just like I'm not a perfect person, just like you're not a perfect person. If I took every bad thing that I've done in my life and put it out on a screen, a lot of people would say, hey, that guy's a scumbag. When in reality, I'm not. I'm just not perfect. Just like you've probably done some things in your life that you're not proud of. I just think, Trump is just unashamedly a jerk sometimes, which obviously people don't love. But the Republican Party is so much stronger than the Democratic Party, in my opinion, as far as what I support. And so if I'm having to choose between Trump or Kamala, I'm choosing Trump 10 times out of 10, because Kamala's not perfect either, and I would rather prefer Trump than Kamala.
Okay, why do you prefer Trump over Kamala Harris?
Like I said, it's the policies of the Republican Party more than the policies of the Democratic. Such as the views on abortion, such as the views on immigration. Obviously, the ICE stuff is pretty ugly, and nobody loves seeing that. Obviously, if you're human, you don't love seeing that. Some of the stuff that Trump does is not perfect on that, and I'll admit that. But having checks and balances is a lot better than the alternative, which is just letting anybody in and everybody in. Obviously, we want to let people seek asylum and people that are hurting and having, if they have a terrible situation.
Can I respond to this real quick? So we weren't just letting everybody in under the Biden administration. We did have a vetting process under the Biden administration. We still were deporting people. In terms of immigration, like, he actually undermined a bipartisan border bill that would have secured the border and would have made the legal process go quicker, because he cared more about running on the border being an issue than actually providing solutions for the border, which, by the way, the Democrats are the complete opposite. They're willing right now to pass a housing affordability policy that would make Trump look better, but he's unwilling to sign it into law because of the fact that he wants the Save America Act passed, which, by the way, is just a voter suppression bill and wouldn't even lead to more secure elections. And then I can give you an example of how Democrats would actually save more lives as opposed to Republicans, if you'd like to also go into that as well.
I just, truthfully, like I said, the Save America Act, as far as like voter ID goes, I just think that's common sense that somebody should have to provide ID. You have to provide ID to enter the Obama library. So why would you not have to provide ID to just say, hey, I'm a citizen? That just, to me, that makes sense. If there's underlying things that are like, oh, that shouldn't be made, like, that's whatever, like, it just makes common sense to me. If you're going to be part of a system and you're going to be part of a government. So, for instance, I work for a sovereign Native American government.
But before we go into all of this, can I just have a quick response to this? Did you know that we already have that? Did you know that in order to be able to vote, you have to register to vote in every state, but I'm pretty sure it's North Dakota, which they specifically have the ID present when you vote. So every state you have to have ID to vote.
So I live in Oklahoma, and everywhere that I've voted since, the last 14 years.
You've already been registered.
3 elections. So
you're in a Republican state.
Sure. And I have friends that live in California. I have a buddy that lives in California. Yeah. So I have a buddy that lives in California that his dad voted for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, and his dad passed away in 2006. So.
Okay. What's your source for that? Is it just like your friend told you this?
No. So the source is he received some kind of.
So he committed voter fraud.
No. He received some kind of notarized thing in the mail at his parents' house. His mom received it and said, like, thank you guys for your whatever and your support. And then his mom, I guess, looked up their voting, and his dad was registered as a Democrat, and his dad had been dead for 10 years, 15 years. And so, again, all the voting
being
stuff,
registered is not the same as saying you voted. You could be registered from the time he was alive.
Sure. And again, that kind of stuff, I don't really. That stuff is not as important to me.
Also, by the way, let me just clarify. You're saying dead people are voting. Are you saying someone was using his identity to vote? An undocumented
immigrant?
Sounded
like to me.
Okay. So we have very little instances of undocumented immigrants voting. The Heritage Foundation has even looked into this specifically, which is a right-wing think tank, and they even concluded that there's no basis to say any of these things.
Sure. And again, that may be something that that I would need to look into further. But again, that's not an issue that I'm not really like, oh, I'm on 100% on board for that, which I know a lot of MAGA people are. But truthfully, like I said, if we can go back to the main issues, I think abortion and just truthfully on abortion, I think there's no way to legislate it. I think you can either make it all right or you make it all wrong. There's not a way. People are going to do what they're going to do. And so, unfortunately, I've had some family experience with some bad situations. A family member close to me had a very bad situation, and thankfully she didn't get pregnant, but she was. It was one of those things where when she was 16, and her parents basically said, you know, if she gets pregnant, as horrible as this is, we just can't merit doing another horrible thing to try to make a horrible thing better. And so the way that I see it is you either make it all right or you make it all wrong. And I side more on the making it all wrong, where I feel like the Republican Party aligns more with that than the Democratic Party. Because I think if you had to choose, I think most Republicans would say it's all wrong, and most Democrats would say it's mostly all right. I don't think any Democrats coming out and saying, oh, it's okay to murder a baby. Like, I don't think Democrats are saying that. But I think that most Democrats, Kamala Harris, whoever you guys put up, would vote in favor of abortion if it was a hypothetical all are good or all are bad. I think the Democrats would say all are good more than they would say all are bad, if that makes sense. And so I align more with the Republican Party, where Trump may have his own personal opinion, and a lot of MAGA people might, but I think the Republican Party as a whole probably sides more with what I align with.
Okay, but you didn't really actually say. You said that Democrats would be okay with all abortions rather than none.
No, I didn't say that. No,
I'm confused with your argument.
Sure, yeah. So to clarify, what I'm saying is, in my opinion, it's either all abortions are wrong or all abortions are right. There's no gray area.
I'm sorry, that's insane. No one thinks that.
How do you?
Because there are going to be some circumstances, regardless, where you think that abortion is justified, right?
Sure. And so,
okay.
No. So I, truthfully, personally, I don't think it's ever justified, unless obviously if the mother's going to die, and then I think, okay, you kind of have to make a choice there.
Wait, so is it justified in that situation, or is it justified when a child gets a...
No, I don't think it's justified.
So you would force a 10-year-old to go through a pregnancy?
I don't think I would force anything. I just think
would you give legal repercussions to a doctor that provides an abortion?
See, that's the thing, is that's not my decision to make. And so what I'm saying is, in those very, very rare, very hypothetical scenarios, it's a terrible, terrible situation regardless. You and I can agree that if a 10-year-old were to get pregnant, it's horrible. I don't think we disagree on that.
If you said it's not your decision to make, well, then it should be not your decision, and there should be no law on it.
So what I'm saying is, you can't tell somebody, hey, you get a choice here, but then this other person that just doesn't want to have a baby, they don't get the choice. That's what I'm saying. Because I think I
think that they both get a choice.
So you think if somebody doesn't want to have a baby, and that baby is and the fetus, to use democratic whatever what you guys like to say, if the fetus is 39 weeks old inside,
it would be an induction of labor at that point.
They should be able.
After the point of viability, it's just an induction of labor, which is early birth. It doesn't lead to the death of the fetus.
But I'm saying.
But here's my position: if my girlfriend happened to get pregnant and she wanted an abortion, I would pay for her abortion.
So you would be totally okay with that, with terminating that?
Absolutely. I would be totally okay with that. Why? Because I'm there to support my girlfriend. Sure, not some hypothetical potential being that doesn't exist yet. Also, it's her body, right? It's not my body. It's her decision on whether she wants to go through a pregnancy, not my decision.
Sure. So two things on that. So number one, man, I hope you and your girlfriend, obviously, I have no animosity towards you. I hope you're not sensing any of that. But I hope you and your girlfriend are blessed with children someday. Because as somebody with 2 children of my own, it is the greatest. It's the greatest thing that we can do as humans.
We both want to have kids too, but that's on our own timeline. And also, we don't have an obligation to maintain, right? Or she doesn't have. Sorry, not we. She doesn't have an obligation to maintain a pregnancy, right? That's not her obligation at any point. If she doesn't want to have kids right now, that's her decision.
But if you and your girlfriend are going to get pregnant, then there's obviously intercourse that happens before that. So you're kind of paying the price for it. And so saying, well, hey, we got pregnant. We don't want to have a baby just yet because it doesn't match up with our timeline.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's totally okay to do. Yeah.
You're
Nothing
totally
wrong
okay
with that.
Murdering a child.
That's not murder. It's not a child. It's not a child, nor is it murder.
It is a child.
No, it's not.
How is it not a child?
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think it's okay to put...
Have you seen an ultrasound?
Can I ask you a question?
Have you seen an ultrasound? Sure.
Yeah. Is it abusive to put children into freezers and to keep them there for storage?
Okay. So little zygotes or whatever.
No, I'm just asking, is it abusive? Just answer the question. Is it abusive to put children in freezers for storage?
Obviously, in that context.
Okay. Is it wrong to freeze embryos?
Obviously, it is.
It is? You think it's wrong to freeze embryos?
I'm saying that is a very hypothetical, I'm going to try to get you here. I'm saying if there is a pregnancy and there is a baby, you can hear my baby crying in the background. It's a blessing. So anyways, so if there's a pregnancy, you can't just terminate it because you want to, because, I don't want to have a baby yet. That's just wrong to me. And just because you don't want to have a baby, then don't do what it takes to have a baby in that scenario. In the scenario that you provided, that's your choice.
So just don't have... I'm sorry, that's not going to happen.
Not till you're married, not till you're ready to have a baby. Hey, adult
I'm sorry. Regardless whether you say that or not, I'm going to keep doing it.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. You guys are very good at saying, I'm going to do whatever I want to do, but then...
Yeah, I'm not waiting till marriage to have sex. Did you?
I'm going to call out the...
Did you wait till marriage to have sex?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, I don't want to do that. It's good for your life, but not good for my life.
So I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, is you guys are okay with these decisions until there's a consequence, and then you're just,
I said it was totally okay, the consequence. I said it was okay to get an abortion.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. That's inhumane to me.
How is it inhumane?
And because it's the ending of a human life, whether it's a human life right off the bat or whatever you believe.
Okay, well then let me ask you a question. Do you think it's murder to pull the plug on an individual in your family that is brain dead?
No.
Okay, but they're still cellularly speaking alive.
But the difference is it's a brain dead person. Babies are developing. They're in development. They will grow 99% or whatever the percent is. They will grow into a viable human life. I got a 6-month-old that you heard cry just a minute ago. He relies on my wife and I. I couldn't do anything without her. He relies on her for 100% of his life.
Yeah,
his life is just...
You guys have consented to this obligation.
I'm saying you're consenting to having sex with your girlfriend, so therefore...
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm consenting to being a parent.
So don't sign the papers if you're not ready to do the job. That's what I'm saying.
Then she doesn't need to be forced to go through a pregnancy.
Well, but that's like, hey, I'm going to take a gun into a baseball game.
Hey, dude, I am going to take care of a kid regardless whether or not the situation is there. I'm just saying, if my girlfriend doesn't want to go through a pregnancy, I would pay for her abortion. I am there to support her either way. If she wants to have the kid, I'm there to support her. If she doesn't want to, then that's up to her. It's her going through pregnancy. It's not me. I'm not the one that has to carry a child.
Yeah, and we agree. Guys aren't the ones carrying the child. But at the end of the day, it's the child. It's a child, man.
But prior to sentience, it's not a child. It's like it's an embryo. Like you don't view zygotes and embryos the same as you view babies. And let me explain to you why you don't. Okay? If you were in a burning building and you could either save 2 zygotes or 1 newborn baby, which would you rather save?
Obviously a newborn baby.
Okay, why? Why would you save 1 person over 2 people?
Because an unborn zygote, I don't even really technically know what that means. Are you talking about a frozen
embryo? Single-cell organism at
about...
conception. Because remember, you value life at conception.
So in that scenario, there would be a pregnant woman with twins, is what you're saying. If there's 2 zygotes,
no, it's 2 petri dishes with 2 zygotes in them.
Yeah, so that's different, and you know that's different.
Yeah, of course.
You know that's different.
Of course, I do. But do you? But do you is the question.
Democrats are really good at coming up with these little tiny hypotheticals. If this very rare scenario where somehow me as a person would walk into a burning building and for some reason there's just a baby sitting there and there's a petri dish sitting there, that scenario would never happen in the history of the world. But let's say it randomly happens. Who would you choose? That's bogus to even provide that. What I'm saying is a very logical thing. If you yourself looked at an ultrasound of your baby, of your girlfriend's baby, of your baby, how can you look at the face of that baby and say, hey, that life doesn't matter. That person does not matter. And if you want to delete that life, I am 100% supportive of that, and I will give the money for it right now. That's evil to me. That just makes zero sense. And if that's your argument, then like we're not going to agree on that. But
Can I ask you a question?
That's why I support Republicans over Democrats.
Was it wrong for Thanos to snap out of existence half of the entirety of all existence?
Hey, that's a comic book. That's
I understand.
Not real life.
But could you answer the question?
That's not real life.
But could you answer the question?
That's my answer to the question is that's not real life. So why does it matter?
Well, I think everyone, like any typical person, would be able to answer the question and be like, yeah, that's wrong. Even though it's like some hypothetical scenario that would never happen, we could still talk about the morality of it, right? That's why morality of plenty of different movies is obviously a relevant conversation to talk about. We could talk about the morality of Severance. We could talk about the morality of a bunch of different things. And it doesn't have to be something that actually could happen within real life for us to actually test the relevance to see whether or not our morals, if they were present within that scenario, would yield certain outcomes. And essentially what I'm saying to you is that if you value a zygote as much as you do a person, why wouldn't you save two zygotes over one newborn baby? Because two people are more valuable than one person. And again, the obvious answer is because you don't value a zygote the same as you value a newborn baby. Now, you could still have this position, and you could still say, oh, I think it's still wrong to engage in abortion. But it still demonstrates that you view some sort of value distinction. Why do you have that value distinction is then something that we would evaluate, is the question that I would then ask. So if you want to get to that point in the conversation, we can. But for you to say I'm not going to engage with a hypothetical is honestly just ridiculous.
Well, basically what I'm saying is to justify something that's the most terrible. I mean, I think we can agree that rape is one of the most terrible things that could ever happen. Again, I'm very close to.
Well, then why do you support an adjudicated rape for president?
Again, because I support the Republican Party. I don't support a crazy person with no intelligence. I mean, if we're being completely honest, if you can listen to a Kamala Harris speech and tell me she has intelligence, then you're crazy.
Way more than Trump. I'm not crazy for saying that she has intelligence. I'm not at all. She's very accredited. I'm sorry. I'm not crazy for saying that she's an intelligent person. What? What are you talking about? She absolutely is an intelligent person.
So when you listen to Kamala say, the children of the community are the children of the community, and they deserve value because they deserve value. Like, Trump may not be the nicest person.
I don't think that's exactly what she said, but if she just said something that's trivial, that doesn't mean she's stupid. Trump literally says things all the time that are absurd and false. You can't just say that she said something that's true or trivial and be like, oh, now I'm going to say she's stupid because of this. So bad that I would rather vote for an adjudicated rape. Like, what? Are you insane? Donald Trump said that we should look into disinfectant by injection to fight COVID-19. Trump looked up an eclipse twice with his bare eyes, right? Even though there's scientific and medical professionals around him that told him you shouldn't do that and gave him literally protective glasses so that he wouldn't look at the sun with his bare eyes. He said that we should nuke hurricanes to fight them. He said that windmills are causing whales to die in numbers never seen before. He said that if Joe Biden or if Jesus Christ were the vote counter in California, that he would have won the vote against Joe Biden. This guy's delusional. He says privately to Dr. Oz and to his son that he drinks Diet Coke because he thinks it kills cancer because it kills grass. This guy's delusional.
Donald Trump is not the most perfect human being in the world. That's why
this is far from being perfect. This is delusional. This is cognitive decline. This is someone that I would never want to be president. This is someone that's not a presidential person.
Did you want Biden to be president?
I would prefer Biden over Trump. Yes, any day of the week. Biden is way more presidential than Trump. Not even close.
So the difference between Trump and Biden is a politician and tells you what you want to hear. Trump is not a politician and tells the truth, regardless of how hard it is.
Wait. What I just mentioned was a bunch of things that Trump just said that was not the truth. Trump tells you what you want to hear. Trump told you that the election was rigged from him with no evidence. Joe Biden tells you the actual truth. Right now, there are countless circumstances I can say that Joe Biden said something I disagree with, or Joe Biden said something that maybe I would consider false, or Joe Biden has cognitive decline. We can acknowledge all of those faults, but all of those things are significantly less than everything we see as bad about Donald Trump. And the fact that you would say that you would rather what we have right now, the show going on right now, rather than Joe Biden as president is honestly genuinely concerning to me.
The fact of the matter is the country is better off with a Republican in office.
That's just false. Name one metric it's better off with. And GDP growth. Give me anything in terms of the economy that's better off right now than what it was at the end of Biden's administration.
Sure. So in Oklahoma, gas right now, I just paid $2.98. I paid like almost $5 with Biden's last year in office.
Okay.
And
Well, gas prices right now are higher than what they were at the end of Biden's administration. Did
not
you
where
know
I
that?
live. Not where I
And
live.
yes, it is where you are. If you look at the Energy Information Administration, if you look at gas prices as a whole, we have higher gas prices right now than we had at the end of Biden's administration. That is a fact. You're not willing to
So,
understand that or
so
acknowledge that.
again,
That's okay,
so
but
again,
that's
I'm
true.
speaking from real life
Why was
experience.
the oil prices higher during the context of Biden's administration? Well, there was a few things, not caused by Biden, by the way. Supply chain issues relating to the pandemic, where we saw global inflation. We also had the Russia invading Ukraine. We also had Trump's deal with OPEC that cut oil production, specifically during the context of the pandemic, which then was carried out until 2022. And by the way, the oil prices declined very massively once that OPEC 2020 deal ended.
Again, I'm speaking from real life experience. You're speaking from, I guess, looking at numbers and
Evidence,
listening to
statistics.
people.
What real life experience are you referencing, sir?
I just
The
said
experience with being wrong? The experience with misinformation?
paid $2.98. I
Cool, good
just
for
did
you,
that
brother.
myself.
Good for you, brother. If you look at the
That's
overall
what I'm
stats
saying.
for gas prices in this country, they're higher
That's
right
what
now
I'm
than they
saying.
were at the end of
You're not
Biden's
looking.
administration. Your memory is not perfect. Your memory has issues. You know what is
Your
accurately
memory is
representing the
not
data? The data in of itself. So I'm not going to just take some random claim from what's your name, Cody, on the internet. I'm going to look at the actual data, okay?
I'm gonna live my life in whatever the party that
Cody, how old are you?
32, brother.
Okay, your life experience of an extra 8 years is not so much that you can be like, oh, I'm so much older than you. I'm not going to consider what you're saying. Based on your
Not what I
argument,
said.
you're going to consider what Joe Biden has to say because he's older than you.
That's not
Look
what
up
I'm
to your
saying. That's
elders,
not what I
brother.
said. That's not what I said. So,
He has life experience. You don't have jack shit. You're 32.
and then, so you guys are both, you and Dean, I guess, y'all are buddies. Y'all are both super good at talking fast and jumping in when you have your opportunity to try to throw out something. I'm just trying to speak from common sense and life experience. Obviously, Joe Biden has more experience than me. Kamala Harris has more experience than me.
What
Donald
common
Trump
sense,
has
sir?
more experience than me. Has more experience. Donald Trump has more experience.
Cool.
Common sense.
What common
A baby
sense?
is a baby. A baby is a baby and
Wow,
shouldn't be
wow,
murdered.
you just did the very thing that you just criticized Kamala Harris for. A baby is a baby? Wow, that was really fucking great. Thank you so much, Einstein. I really appreciate the information you just gave us. A baby's a baby? Really? Wow.
Yeah.
It's almost like we
You shouldn't
disagree on
murder.
what a baby is in the first place. It's almost like we disagree
shouldn't
on what a
murder a
person is
baby.
in the first place. It's not that I don't think that the baby isn't a baby. It's that I don't think it's a zygote's a fucking baby because I don't think single cell organisms are babies. I don't think you can look at an entire baby through a microscope. I don't think Ant-Man exists.
So, do you think when a baby is, let's say, when's your cutoff for abortion? When do you think it's wrong? Ever?
I think it's wrong after sentience in elective circumstances, but from the legal perspective, I don't believe that there should be legal limits because I don't think that people are just getting it in certain situations that are elective after sentience, and I think that it would just prevent people in situations which I think they should be able to get access to, i.e. the exceptions, right? If we were to place those laws in place in the first place.
Sure. So back to my point.
But
and
Roe
we're just
versus
gonna-
Wade is fine. Do you have an issue with Roe versus Wade? That says after viability, it's left up to the states.
I have an issue with it, yes, because again, I think you can either say abortions are all right or abortions are all wrong, and I side
That
more
makes
on
no
the-
fucking sense.
That does make sense.
Don't you believe in nuance, Cody? Can
Sure,
you believe?
but-
Can you believe in nuance?
There's not nuance with
Yes, there is.
terminating a human life. There's not nuance.
There's not nuance with you trying to undermine people's bodily autonomy. Let me ask you a question, okay?
You're undermining the baby's
Can I ask you a
bodily
question?
autonomy by deleting it.
Watch. Let me ask you this
What
question.
choice does the baby have?
Let me ask you this question, sir.
Sure.
Okay. Let's say that you were a sperm donor when you were like 18 years old, okay? And let's say you never signed away your rights.
Another
And
hypothetical.
you were just, of course, I'm asking you a hypothetical, genius. Wow, you connected the dots. Good for you. So let's say that you were a sperm donor, you never signed away your rights or anything, and 20 years later, your offspring relies on your kidney to survive. No one else can give them a kidney, and if you don't give them a kidney, they will die. Should you be legally obligated to give up your kidney to your offspring? Why or why not?
Should I be legally obligated? No, but in that scenario, in your hypothetical scenario, if that happened to me, I would donate my kidney because I believe that nothing happens outside of God's plan. And I think in that scenario, I know you probably don't believe in God, but I think in that scenario, if a 20-year-old came up to me and said, man, I need your kidney or I'm going to die, I think I would take that as, the Lord wants me to do this and I'm going to do it. It's not up to
Okay.
me to make that decision whether or
Again,
not
and,
that
and,
person
and you could say personally that would be the right decision for you. Great, amazing.
that's me
But
personal
there
preference.
shouldn't be a legal obligation. There's no legally forcing of it, okay? And if you are going to say that specifically for a kidney, right, then you should say that for the context of pregnancy, because pregnancy is a significantly
Kidney's
more
not the
harsh
same as a baby.
obligation than giving up a kidney.
A kidney's not the same as a baby.
Yeah, actually, it's like harder to go through a pregnancy, whether it be the
if you take
psychological negative impacts, the physiological
if you
negative
take my
impacts,
kid,
the financial negative impacts, the career negative impacts, all of those negative impacts categorized in one is a significantly harsher, greater obligation than
out of
specifically
my
giving up
body
a
at
kidney.
born, when I say part, it is not attached. It is
What?
attached. But I'm saying babies are attached to the mom. They're not a part of their body. It's not their own body. It's attached to their body. If you cut off my arm, it will die. It will not be able to live. It will not be able to grow on its own because that is a part of my body. If your girlfriend, in your hypothetical scenario, if she has to have her leg amputated, she chooses to get her leg amputated, that leg is not going to go on and live a life and have its own children and be good in society and register to vote and all these things.
Who
That
the f are you
which is
arguing
part
with?
of her body.
Who are you arguing
I'm
with?
arguing with you because you're saying
I
it's
didn't
her
say
body.
that. When
It's
did
her
I say
decision
this?
with
Like,
her
what?
body.
You're arguing
You
with the
said that a
wall, bro.
baby is
I
her
did not
body.
say any of these things. What are you talking
I'm
about?
arguing with somebody that doesn't want to argue common sense.
I am arguing common
You
sense. You
said
just
that
apparently lack
you
all of
said
it.
that a baby. You said that a baby is her body. You said that. You said it's her body, her own choice to do with
It's
her
her
body.
body on
Did you
whether or
not
not
say
she
that?
wants to give resources. Okay? And also, by the way,
So
yeah, I don't
don't
consider it a separate person's
sex.
body until sentience.
If you want to the consequences, that's the common sense. Don't have sex if you don't want consequences.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
have
not.
sex if you don't want to have a
I'm
baby.
not
That's
gonna
plain
live
and
by
simple
your
common sense.
worldview because you just want people to not have sex. How about you go live by what you want to live by? I'm gonna keep, sir. Cope,
That's what I'm saying. That I
cope,
hope,
bro,
you know,
cope.
at the end of this, man.
That doesn't mean abortion is wrong because you want us to stop. Doesn't mean abortion is wrong. It means you just want to stop people from having sex. You don't actually care about saving the lives. You're not pro-life. You just want people to stop.
Absolutely not. I think sex is very beautiful and sex is a great thing when it's done right in the design that it was designed to be in.
When
which
it's
is
done
between
right, which
a
means
man and
only in the
woman
context of marriage. I'm
constitutional
sorry, sir. I'm not waiting till marriage. You got me up.
That's what I'm
Are you
saying.
kidding me?
You're gonna
Waiting till marriage,
have
sir?
a-
What the? How you want me to marry someone before? What?
You're gonna have a very sad, miserable life, and I really
Yeah,
hope you find
if
Jesus.
you
I really
don't
do.
have any type of chemistry
really do.
before you get married, yeah, you're gonna have a sad,
I hope-
miserable life if you're stuck in a marriage with someone where you have no chemistry.
Stuck in a
Yeah,
marriage.
good job, dude.
That's what I'm saying. All these things, again, it's just sad.
You don't want to
It's
figure
sad.
out whether or not you have chemistry with your partner before you get married with a lifetime commitment? Come on, sir. What?
How about
That's
you
insane
see
to
if you
me.
have chemistry? How about you see if you mesh well with your heart and with your purpose and your soul? Because
I think
marriage-
I've figured that out a lot better than you have before going into marriage, and I'm not married
Right.
yet, so.
You're right. Marriage is not 100% sex.
I know my
24/7.
girlfriend is who I want to be with because I actually specifically can like figure that out before I force myself into a
what are you waiting
lifelong
for?
commitment. Just because society
Again.
wants me to.
Again, I think you justify what you do wrong, but then you want to call out what Trump does wrong, and you think what you do is fine, but you think you can judge everything that he does because he's in
Yeah,
power.
I'm gonna end up in a
Sure.
better relationship
But-
because of the fact that I don't abide by this
if
random,
you're-
obscenely strict morality for no reason.
I'm saying if you're president, there's going to be half the country that hates what you're doing if you're sitting up there talking about, oh, I have sex with my girlfriend. I'm going to keep effing all the time. I'm going to keep doing this. Half the country.
I don't think people are gonna give a shit that I have sex, bro.
I'm just saying there's a lot of people that see that it's wrong before marriage. And again,
Okay.
that's not why we're having this conversation.
Cool, bro.
But I'm saying
I-
you're sitting up
Cool.
You're
Cope.
sitting up in your TikTok ivory tower saying Donald Trump
Appreciate
is
the
the worst
galaxy.
person in the
Yeah,
world.
I'm sitting up in my TikTok ivory tower saying that you shouldn't support a rapist. Yeah, you shouldn't
You're
support a
right.
guy that's trying to not release all the Epstein files, even though he's legally obligated to do so. You
But
shouldn't
you
support a
should-
guy that tries to undermine our democracy, that called for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Yeah, the ivory tower at TikTok at DNC headquarters.
I'm saying, man, like you guys are super quick to call out Trump. I get it, but you don't.
You're
look
not
in the
quick
mirror.
enough, sir.
And that's what's sad.
The issue is you're
No,
not quick
I
enough,
said
sir.
I said at the very beginning of my conversation, I'm not sitting here saying Donald Trump is perfect and that I love every 100% of the things.
But you
The
think he's
difference-
preferable, sir?
The difference between you and me is you think 100% of the stuff he does is wrong, even if it helps the country, even if it's good for you, you think, oh, Donald Trump did it. I 100% hate it. But me, a
Do you know
person
what
with
Operation
common
Warp Speed is,
sense,
sir?
me with common sense,
Sir,
I
do you
can
know what
say, hey,
Operation Warp Speed
there's
is?
things that
Hey,
there's
bud.
things.
Hey,
Hold on,
bud.
I'm
Hey,
not
bud. Hey,
finished.
bud.
Hey,
Hey,
bud.
bud.
Hey,
Hey,
bud. I'm
bud.
not finished with my point.
I
I'm not
don't
finished
care.
with
You're
my
just
point.
wrong. Like, you're objectively wrong. When did I ever
I'm
say
not wrong.
I disagree with 100%? I agree with Operation Warp Speed. Now, can you answer my question here? Can you name a single thing that Democrats have influenced to get past a policy that you agree with?
I don't know.
So do you see the projection here, buddy?
I'm sure there have. Stop calling me buddy. I'm not your nephew. I'm just literally
Who
sitting
cares,
here
buddy?
talking to you. Okay.
Well, buddy,
At the end of the day,
the
at
issue
the
is
end of
that
the
you
day,
couldn't
buddy,
name a
at the
single
end of the
thing that
day,
you agree
for
with, yet you just tried to act like I disagree with everything just because Trump did it. Well, you can't name a single thing you agree with Democrats on. I could name something that Trump and I agree
right
upon. The
right
Operation Warp
now,
Speed.
right now, I
Buddy,
don't know if there's anything. Right now. I don't know if there's anything that I agree with Democrats because 99% of what Democrats do is we hate Trump. That's what they
that's
do.
just not
We
true.
hate Trump.
That's
Yes,
not
it
true.
is. That's
Expanding
all I
access
see
to
from
healthcare,
community
expanding
clubs.
access to childcare, trying to actually
Okay,
fight climate change.
childcare. Childcare. Do you care about children? No, you don't,
Yes,
because you
I
want
do.
abortions. Abortions.
Sir, I
That's
don't
a
think an
child.
embryo is a child.
Okay. And that's where we disagree. And
Okay,
again,
and
you can
yeah,
say,
so
"Oh, I
that's not
want
me saying
child
I don't
care."
care about children.
I want,
You support
want
Trump,
this.
even though we cut 420,000 children off of free school lunch and breakfast on average every single month through the big beautiful bill to disproportionately give tax breaks to the richest Americans and add $3.4 trillion to the debt. You don't give a shit about children when they're outside of the womb. Apparently, you only care about them when they're in the womb.
You're right. You're right. I don't care
Yeah,
about
you don't care
children. I
about them if
just
they're
have
at
to.
the
You're right.
survivors specifically of Epstein. You don't care about specifically if it's
You're
them
right.
needing to get justice.
You're
You
right.
don't care if it's
Yeah.
specifically the girl that Donald Trump went up to that he said he would
You're
date
right.
in 10 years when she was a 10-year-old girl, or the
Right.
15-year-old specifically that Donald Trump
You're
barged
right.
into the changing rooms while they were changing when he admitted
You're
it,
right.
and then two 18-year-olds came out and said there were
He
four
didn't
girls as young
admit
as
to
15 years old in
changing.
these
He
changing
didn't
rooms
admit to
when Donald
barging
Trump would
into the
barge in. You're willing to overlook all of those things, the impact on all of those children, right? For what?
Absolutely not.
For
Absolutely
what?
not.
For
That's what I
for a
said.
embryo? That, by the way, you're not even
Absolutely not.
saving to a greater extent because you'd save
Absolutely
more
not.
lives if you voted for the Democrats. Spaghetti, thank you so much for the lion. Thank you so much directly from DNC headquarters. Thank you so much, Spaghetti, for the lion. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
About all the sex trafficking and all the stuff that happens at the border with the Democrats letting all these people come into the border. How about
There's
the
no
450,000 kids that were trafficked? You don't care
so
about those
the
kids.
450,000 number that you're referencing there specifically is not people that were trafficked. You're simply just referencing a misleading statistic. Specifically, it's referencing a issue specifically in terms of paperwork from a legal perspective. It's not specifically a situation where 450,000 children have been trafficked due to Democratic policy. That's a complete misinformation claim. Secondly, if you want to look at the actual trafficking, if you want to reduce trafficking relating to the border, how about you provide a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants who have committed a violent or serious offense? Or how about you prioritizing going after those that have committed violent and serious offenses rather than just going after people specifically working at Home Depot or working in construction or working in this country for a fucking better life, right? Because they're going after people specifically who are paying taxes through the use of ITINs, people who are just working here for a better life, rather than going after people specifically who actually are a threat to the safety and security of our population. Why? Because the president's a violent sex offender that doesn't care about going after people who have committed violent and serious crimes because he's literally not releasing all the Epstein files even though he's legally obligated to do so. He's not holding individuals accountable for the literal violence trafficking of children that happened for literally decades in this country that Donald Trump is trying to cover up right now because he doesn't want the release of the Epstein files. Why? Because it incriminates him. Why? Because there's been literally an NPR investigation into the DOJ scrubbing interviews associated with allegations against Trump from a victim of Epstein who got a settlement with the Epstein estate. If you believe all the victims who got settlements from the Epstein estate, right, about their accusations against Epstein related to abuse and trafficking, well, then you will necessarily believe Jane Doe 4 that also accused Epstein of trafficking her to Trump. Why is Donald Trump not releasing the files? Well, because he's implicated. Why is he not releasing the files? Because he doesn't want people who are his friends to be implicated. He's literally said this to Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's why he called her a traitor when she wanted to release the Epstein files. That's why he's primaried Thomas Massie to get him out of office simply because he just wanted to release the Epstein files. This guy is not going to help limit trafficking. He doesn't give a shit about limiting trafficking.
Again, all I could say after your big rant of speaking really fast with your rehearsed comebacks, all I can say is my first thing that I said at the very beginning of this is I don't support 100% of the stuff that Trump does. I think you have to be an idiot to support 100% of the stuff that anybody does. I just support the Republican Party more than I support the Democratic Party. And if for some crazy reason Trump were to run for a third term, I don't know where I would stand because I think it's unconstitutional. But I would vote for a Republican over a Democrat. And I think there's a lot of stuff that you and I don't agree on. I think there's maybe some things that we might agree on. I do. I just think to have a real conversation, we would have to have a real conversation, not a, I'm going to sit here and sprint and talk to when you feel like you're ready to just do a mic drop on me. I would rather have a real conversation with somebody and have an intelligent conversation and actually sit down and talk about issues. But at the end of the day, like I said at the beginning, I respect what you're doing. I get it. I get that you're going to jump out and say 500 things really fast because, again, this is what you do for a living. I don't do this for a living. I just jumped on TikTok. Hey, this guy's on. I've seen him on different debates. I'm going to try to jump in his live. At the end of the day, I'm an American. I believe in Jesus. Jesus came. He lived a perfect life. He died on the cross for our sins.
Are you going to respond to a single thing I said, sir?
There's no point. Again,
there's no point. Exactly. So you can't just say I spoke too quickly and just not respond to anything I said. If you want me to repeat it, I'll repeat it.
You said 900 things in about a 5-second span because, again, it's...
And you couldn't remember a single one? Wow, that's an issue.
It's your script. You're
I don't have a script.
Yes, you do. It's your... You do this every day.
Where did I get the script from? The DNC?
You do this every day. You do this every day. I've listened to you. I've listened to Dean. I've listened to all your other guys.
Where did I get the script from, sir?
Y'all say the same things. You don't have a conversation.
We agree?
With a person. No, you guys all say, Donald Trump did this, and Marjorie Taylor Greene did this, and Tucker Carlson doesn't like Donald Trump now because Donald Trump...
I never even said Tucker Carlson. He's crashing out, dude.
Epstein file.
I like how you're whining instead of responding to any of the facts I brought up.
How do you provide a moral... Nobody...
What a triggered little snowflake. Instead of responding to any of the facts that I brought up intellectually, he's just going to whine about it on the stream. Do you need a baby bottle, sir? Yep. Would you like some tissues? Because honestly, I don't care at this point. If you're unwilling to intellectually engage with any of my points, that's a reflection of your emotional state, not my unwillingness to actually explain things or to go through a conversation with you. You're the one who's childish, who's throwing a temper tantrum on the live stream because I said multiple things in a debate. I'm sorry that I spoke too quickly for you. Tell me to slow down next time, and I'll say it for you again, bud.
So the difference between you and me is I'm sitting here in a cordial way saying, hey, again, I agree with a lot of things that probably you think about, but there's a lot of stuff that I don't agree about. We're not going to agree on that. And you're going, you're being a baby. You're throwing a temper tantrum. You're doing this. You're the one that's name calling. You're the one that's doing all this stuff.
You should watch back this later, and then you'll see that happen.
You're trying to seem intelligent, and...
Sir, you're not considering anything that I'm saying simply because you're emotional. That's why I'm saying you're emotional.
There's nothing about being emotional. Again,
you're being emotional because you're unwilling to engage with any of my arguments, and you're saying that I was like speaking too quick for you. I'll slow down and I'll say it again if you want me to do that.
You're not engaging in my arguments.
What argument?
You didn't engage in any of my argument.
What argument?
I said at the very beginning, I'm not saying Donald Trump's perfect, and you've done nothing but list off things that Donald Trump does. That again, I said I don't agree with everything Donald Trump has done.
I understand, sir.
All you're doing is saying, Donald Trump did this wrong, Donald Trump did this wrong, Donald Trump did this wrong, Donald Trump did this wrong.
Can I explain to you why?
Well, you're not listening to what I'm saying. I said I don't agree with everything Donald Trump does. And you're saying you agree with everything Donald Trump does. You do this, you do this.
That's not what I said.
Trump did this. You're listing off things that Trump's done wrong. I'm not disagreeing with you with stuff that Trump's done wrong. I don't think he's done all the crazy stuff to an extent. But I know he's not perfect, and I know he does stuff wrong because I'm not a person that's an idiot that thinks that a person is perfect. So, but again, this is a silly thing. We were just going around in circles, and all you're going to say is, "Oh, you're being a baby. Oh, you don't want to debate. You don't want to answer my questions."
Sir, can I just explain to you why? Can I explain to you why?
We've been talking for 45 minutes. It's been a cordial conversation.
Can I explain to you why, sir?
I told you why I support the Republican Party and I don't support Democrats. You're not going to change my mind.
So he's just going to walk away because he's unwilling to talk to me about this.
Because Jesus is the only one that's going to heal anybody.
Yeah, I mean, are you going to let me talk to you, or are you just going to say and proselytize to the stream before you leave?
Whether you talked for 30 minutes straight,
I didn't.
Just rambling off stats and rambling off things.
That was probably 2 minutes.
Okay, well, 2 minutes of just rambling off. Again, we're not going to go anywhere. I just truthfully wanted to... Okay, can I ask you one question?
Yeah, but let me know when I'm able to ask you or engage with the points that you brought up at all.
Sure. So, that's how you live on these debates, is you run and jump in people's face and mute them and stuff. So I appreciate you not muting me. Honestly, I do, truthfully. But my one question is, seriously, Donald Trump is the president. I don't see a world where he leaves the presidency. I don't see a world unless he does something absolutely egregious that's blatant 1,000%. No doubt. What's not even a 0.1% doubt. It's so for these next 2 years, do you hope that the country has success? And can you see a world where, regardless of who's in power, the United States can somehow thrive? Or do you just hope that everything Trump does blows up in his face, even if it's for the downfall of the country because you want the downfall of Trump?
I hope the country does as best as it possibly can. I just know that Donald Trump is making conditions worse comparative to what it would have been otherwise if Democrats were in office.
But you don't know that for sure.
I do know that because I can point to the specific policies passed by Democrats as opposed to what would be passed under the Republican administration to know that things would have been better under a Democratic administration. Would you like me to explain why?
Well, I think they weren't as good under the last Democratic administration that Kamala Harris was part of. So I think we let it ride for 2 years. We agree that there's terrible things that are happening, and we hope and pray that they get better. But I don't see people just complaining about Trump. We hate Trump. We hate Trump. We hate Trump. We want him to fail. We want the Iranian deal. We want it to not work because we want it to blow up in Trump's face. How about, hey, I don't like the guy, but maybe this is going to have some good in it. And in 2 years, we can vote a Democrat in if we want to. If we really feel like the country's going downhill, we can let the Democrats have a chance and we can go from there. But I can guarantee you this is in 2 years, if Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom or AOC or whoever, if they get in office, I may not be happy about it, but I'm not going to complain about everything that they do or most things that they do and hope that they fail as a president. I think that Democrats hope that Trump fails. And I think that's the distinction between the two parties. And at the end of the day, going back to my first point, that is why I side with Republicans more than Democrats. Because Republicans can put party aside and they can say, I hope this person thrives because it's what we got. It may suck and we may not agree with it, but it's what we got. Democrats cry and whine about Trump, Trump, Trump. We hate Trump, we hate Trump, we hate Trump. And they just complain. And it's going to be a long 3 more years or however long it's going to be if you just sit there and complain every night. Because complaining about it's not going to do anything. But how about we come alongside our leadership and we hope for a better America? Like, it's just silly little sayings, but it's true and it's common sense. And that's why I support the Republican Party more than I support the Democrats. I don't know all the little nuances of all the tiny policies here and there like you do because I don't study politics for a living. But again, I am dealing in common sense. I'm dealing in basic knowledge and life experience that I've lived. And I think that if somebody is in power, you should do your best to say, hey, they're there. I can't change it. So let's just hope for the best. But complaining, I mean, I'm going in circles. But I don't know. That's just where I see it. And I hope in 2 years, if AOC is president, I can jump on another live with you and maybe we can talk again. And maybe you can say, hey, man, you were wrong. Donald Trump was the worst president in history. And I'm willing to say, okay, if that's the truth. But right now, I'm willing to say, hey, it's what we got. I voted for Republican and I stand behind it. I don't love everything that Trump does, but I don't love everything that anybody does. And so he's what we got. And I think that's the truth.
So unironically, you are complaining right now, let alone the fact that 70% of the Republican Party believed the election was stolen with absolutely no evidence after the 2020 election, and Trump got them to then believe that, and then literally incited people to go to the Capitol on January 6th, and then pardon the violent rioters who beat police officers and called them patriots. So let's just be very clear. You act like Republicans, have no problem at all, right? And it wasn't a big deal when they actively have a significantly larger problem than anything you could exist in terms of the Democrats. Now, you're angry that I'm complaining or disagreeing with what the Trump administration is doing. That's not me saying I hope the country does as worse as it possibly can. I already told you. I hope the country does the best. But I know it's doing worse, and in order for us to do better, we have to call out the things that we're doing wrong, right? Which includes calling how Donald Trump's acting. It's important for me to call out Donald Trump and to say the things that he's doing that's horrible so that people can actually do better for our country. That's why it's important to have these conversations. So you can't just say, oh, you should never complain or have these conversations, because that then it limits accountability, and it leads to a society where less people specifically are going to be politically involved, and less people are going to demand better conditions from their politicians, which inevitably makes our society a worse off place. We have to want better from our systems.
Yeah, no, I agree. We should want more. I'm not saying stop debating people, stop having political conversations. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying all that I see from all Democratic leadership is just, we hate Trump. Everything that he does, we hate it. And we hate him. And we're supposed to love everybody. And love is love and all these sayings. But when it comes to Donald Trump, we hate him. And we want to see him fail. Not the country.
Can I pause you again? So when we say love is love, we're saying there's nothing wrong with being gay. We're not saying we love every single person on the planet. No, we don't love the worst, most atrocious people, okay? That's not the case. I don't agree with that. I heavily disagree with that. Okay? So like what's your argument there? Cuz like that's not what you're criticizing, something that none of us are saying.
Okay. What I'm saying is everything that I see from Democrats is negative towards Trump. Whether or not, again, he's made mistakes. Everybody's made mistakes.
Wait, you just gave us two separate things, contradictory things. You said everything you hear from Democrats is this thing bad about Trump. But then you also said you hear from Democrats specifically talk about how we should accept gay people. Is that saying Trump is bad? Or is that specifically designated something that we should do within a community?
Well, I'm saying that Democrats say all these things.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to Trump, those things that they say don't
So love
apply.
is love. Is that saying you're anti-Trump? Or is that saying love is love? Because you said all you hear from Democrats is that they're anti-Trump, but then cited something from Democrats that isn't just saying anti-Trump, right?
You're right. I said all. I didn't mean to say all. You're right. You caught me on that one. I didn't mean to say all. I'm saying everything that's about Trump specifically is negative. That's what I meant by that statement.
I already told you Operation Warp Speed was good, but almost everything Trump does is negative. That's why.
And I think you're looking at it through a negative lens because you have these 10 lists of things that you listed off earlier that you see Trump as this horrible person and this diabolical person. And so regardless of what he does, you don't like it.
No, would you like to just tell me what is good? Because I can tell you all these things that are horrible, and then you're just going to be like, oh, but this is your job. You just do this all the time. Okay, so then, like, at what point will you just acknowledge that I have reasons for what I believe, and you're just saying this because you just want me to accept you, for accept all the arguments without reason? Can you name the good thing that he's done? Tell us. There's so many good things he's done. If it's so easy to name these good things, tell us.
So, again, you're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say that he is the most perfect person in the world. I'm saying the Republican Party is I trust the Republican Party more than I trust the Democratic Party. And that was the choice, was between Donald Trump, Republican, Kamala Harris, Democrat.
I understand.
So I chose Republican.
I don't know why you're telling me this. You've already told me this a million times. I know that. Why are you telling me this? That doesn't answer my questions.
Harder on immigration. Gas prices went down.
Gas prices have gone up. You said he's harder on immigration. Let's talk about immigration. Let's talk about immigration.
Hey, again, I'm not going to sit here and debate for 3 hours. I gave you my points.
Then leave.
Again, we've already talked about it.
If you don't want to talk any further, then leave. Dude, I don't know why you're acting like I'm forcing you to stay on the stream. Leave then. Bye.
Okay, so the difference between you and me is I'm sitting here trying to have a civil conversation.
Is that what I was just doing that with you, and then you said, I'm not going to have this conversation for 3 hours, sir. What? That's what I was doing. I was trying to have that conversation with you, and you said you don't want to have the conversation with me anymore. And now you're saying you're trying to have civil discussion with me? What are you talking about?
Throwing F-bombs, jumping in when I miss.
Fuckity fuck. I'm sorry that hurts your feelings.
Again, I hope you find Jesus. You're not mature enough to do this, so I'll talk to you later.
Well, make sure to go get some tissues and cry about it. Make sure to send them in the mail so I can drink them.
I'm gonna go hug my wife and hug my babies because babies are the best blessing that anybody can have, and I hope that you don't experience.
Well, they're out of the womb, so you don't think that because you think that the USAID should be cut and 14 million people should die by 2030. Oh wait, you're willing to vote for that? Sorry, let me apologize.
I hope you and your wife are able to have kids someday because a lot of people struggle with having children. So I hope you do. So it's a blessing. All right, good luck, man.